Chapter 4: How to Become Fluent in Gift Giving. Love language number 3. Eric spent a year in Kelsey's friend zone before she agreed to go out with him. Since they were both big baseball fans, Eric took her to an Indianapolis Indians game for their first date. The Indians' minor league stadium allows fans to sit on the grassy hills rather than the outfield bleachers. Eric and Kelsey were enjoying a picnic dinner just beyond the left field fence when the Indians' first baseman drove a hanging curveball their way. Eric jumped up and made an impressive bare-handed catch, his first home run grab ever. 2 days later, Kelsey found a gift-wrapped package outside her dorm room. She opened it and found a baseball in a small plastic display case, the kind collectors use. Taped to the inside of the case was the ticket stub from the game. Inscribed on the ball was the date of the game and these words: "First home run catch, second best thing to happen to me that day." Within 2 years of their first date, Eric and Kelsey were married. Today, some 15 years later, that baseball, still in its display case, sits on Kelsey's bedroom dresser where she can see it every day. Recently, one of her friends asked her which possession she would grab first if her house were on fire. Kelsey's reply: "The baseball Eric gave me." At a garage sale, that ball and its case might go for $1, maybe $1.50. But Kelsey wouldn't part with it for 1,000 times that amount. Behold the power of a thoughtful gift. The cart and the horse. If Kelsey's primary love language had been words of affirmation, quality time, acts of service, or physical touch, Eric's gift might have been met with a blank stare or a half-hearted "thank you." But Eric rolled the dice on gift giving and walked away a big winner. Kelsey was overwhelmed by the fact that he gave up his home run ball, wrote a heartfelt note, commemorated the date of their first outing as a couple, and packaged the whole thing in such a way that stayed visible and protected. All for her. The fact that Eric could speak her love language so early in their relationship gave Kelsey hope that he might be the one. Turns out, she was right. Not everyone picks up the language as quickly as Eric did. Then again, not everyone is as motivated to become fluent as Eric was. Of the 5 love languages, gift giving is the one most likely to raise an eyebrow or two. In some circles, drawing any connection between love and gifts is enough to inspire whispers of materialism, gold digging, or worse. That's why it's so important to emphasize from the start which is the cart, gifts, and which is the horse, love. Love is what drives a husband to learn his wife's primary love language. His aim is to demonstrate his love in a way that she understands and appreciates. To be clear, the love between them is already there. He's not trying to earn his wife's affection by buying her expensive gifts. He's expressing what's in his heart in a way she experiences love most intensely. Likewise, a person whose primary love language is gift giving is not necessarily a materialistic person. Her aim is not to amass a collection of valuables, but rather to surround herself with reminders of her loved one's affection. The cost and worth of the presents are incidental to her. When it comes to the gift-giving love language, it truly is the thought that counts. Tangible expressions. The connection between love and gifts is more deeply rooted than most people realize. How old were you the first time you picked a flower or dandelion and gave it to your mom as a present? A way of saying, "I love you." How many knickknacks did you create for your parents at camp and Sunday school or an art class. The instincts are there. Harnessing and perfecting those natural inclinations is the key to becoming fluent in the love language of gift giving. The notion that delights your parents all those years later, and perhaps still does, runs strong in people whose primary love language is gift giving. A gift is something they can hold in their hands as they say, "Look, he was thinking of me." Therein lies the appeal. You have to think of someone before you give her a gift. The gift itself is a symbol of that thought. It doesn't matter whether it costs money. What's important is that you thought of her, that you took the time to consider what would make her happy and then followed through. Storytellers. Want to add a little something extra to your gift? Give it a story. A stuffed bear holding a sign that says, "I heart West Virginia," is one thing. A stuffed sign-wielding bear purchased in a gift shop on the very block where your wife's great-grandmother's house once stood, which you know because you did some geological research before your trip, is quite another. Of course, not every story needs to be so dramatic or involve such effort. A simple, "I heard you say you wanted to try something new in the kitchen, so I bought you a Cajun cookbook," or "I made a playlist of some of the new songs you've been singing a lot along to lately," will do nicely. An effective story gift combo is one that gives your wife some insight into the way your mind works when it's thinking of her. Gifts are visual symbols of love. The importance of such symbols may be lost in non-native speakers of the gift-giving love language. The difference between the native and the non-native mindsets can be seen in people's attitudes toward the most common visual symbol of love in our culture, the wedding ring. Most wedding ceremonies include the giving and receiving of rings. The person performing the ceremony says something to the effect of, "The rings are outward and visible signs of an inward and spiritual bond that unites your two hearts in love that has no end." That's not meaningless rhetoric. Those words give power to the visual symbol of the union, especially when the native speakers of gift giving are concerned. That's why some people never take their ring off after the wedding. If gift giving is your wife's primary love language, but not yours, she probably wears her ring more often and spends more time thinking about it than you do. She likely places great value on her ring and wears it with tremendous pride because you gave it to her as an enduring symbol of your love. She's also probably been moved by other gifts you've given her through the years. She views them as expressions of your love. What that means for you. To take that point one step further, without gifts as a visual symbols, your wife may question your love. For some of you, that last sentence triggered alarm bells in your head, or the cha-ching of a cash register. Maybe you did a quick check to see if this chapter is being underwritten by Hallmark, Pro Flowers, or K Jewelers. So let's reiterate the point made earlier. Generally speaking, a gift's impact has nothing to do with its cost or worth. Great gifts come in all sizes, colors, and shapes. Some are expensive and others are free. If your wife's primary love language is gift giving, the cost of the gift will matter to her only if it's greatly out of line with what you can afford, or what you spend on yourself or others. If you live on a golf course in a gated community and treat yourself to a new car every year, you can't come home every week with gifts you picked up from the dollar store and expect them to convey genuine love and affection to your wife. If, on the other hand, your household finances are in dire shape, a well-chosen gift from the dollar store may speak $1 million worth of love. Gifts may be purchased, found, or made. If you see an interesting bird feather while you're out running and bring it home to your wife, guess what? You've given her an expression of love. A $5 greeting card that catches your eye and conveys your feelings would make an ideal gift. If your budget doesn't allow for a $5 card expenditure, a card designed and written by you on a piece of computer paper would make an equally ideal gift. What could be simpler? Savers and spenders. Still, not everyone is convinced that gift giving is a meaningful way to speak love. Some try to pass off their reluctance as financial wisdom. Each of us has particular thoughts about the purpose of money, as well as particular emotions associated with spending it. Some people have a spending orientation. They feel good about themselves when they're using money to buy things they need or want. Others have a saving and investing orientation. They feel good about themselves when they hold on to their money and make it work for them by investing wisely. If you're a spender by nature, you'll likely have little difficulty purchasing gifts for your wife. If you're a saver, though, you may experience some intellectual or emotional resistance to the idea. After all, if you don't purchase things for yourself, why should you purchase things for your wife? That kind of thinking makes such good financial sense that it can be hard to see how emotionally skewed it is. The truth is, if you're a saver, you are, in a sense, purchasing things for yourself. By holding on to your money, you're purchasing self-worth and security. You're using your assets to care for your own emotional needs. What you're not doing is meeting the emotional needs of your wife. If your wife's primary love language is gift giving, you must recognize that buying gifts for her is the best long-range plan in your portfolio. You are investing into your relationship and filling your wife's emotional love tank. With a full love tank, she will likely reciprocate emotional love to you in the language you'll understand. That's what's known as a win-win. When both persons' emotional needs are met, your marriage will take on a whole new dimension. To invest in loving your wife is to invest in the bluest of blue chip stocks. The perfect gift. We wouldn't waste a sidebar to suggest something as obvious as buying jewelry for your wife. However, we will suggest that you explore an often overlooked branch of the jewelry gift tree: charm bracelets and necklaces. The initial outlay for the bracelet or necklace itself may seem a little steep, but think of it as an investment. The charms themselves are what makes the package such an ideal gift. They are relatively inexpensive, offer a variety of options, and allow you to personalize your gift over and over again. After, say, a memorial trip to Miami, you buy a charm depicting the state of Florida. After playing couples softball together in church league, you can buy a charm depicting a bat and ball. Over time, the charm bracelet or necklace will tell the story of your relationship, much to the delight of your wife. The gift of self. In some dialects of gift giving, you'll find there is an intangible present that sometimes speaks more loudly than a gift that can be held in one's hand. I call it the gift of self, or the gift of presence. Being there when your spouse needs you speaks loudly to ones whose primary love language is gift giving. Sonia once said to me, "My husband loves softball more than he loves me." "Why do you say that?" I inquired. "On the day our baby was born, he played softball. I was lying in the hospital all afternoon while he played softball," she said. "Was he there when the baby was born?" "He stayed long enough for the baby to be born, but 10 minutes afterward, he left. It was awful." It was such an important moment in our lives. I wanted us to share it together. I wanted Tony to be there with me. That baby was now 15 years old, and Sonia was talking about the event with all the emotion as though it had happened yesterday. I probed further. Have you based your conclusion that Tony loves softball more than he loves you on this one experience? No, she said. On the day of my mother's funeral, he also played softball. Did he go to the funeral? Yes, he did. He went to the funeral, but as soon as it was over, he left to get to his game. I couldn't believe it. My brothers and sisters came to the house with me, but my husband was playing softball. Later, I asked Tony about those two events. He knew exactly what I was talking about. I knew she would bring that up, he said. I was there through all the labor, and when the baby was born, I took pictures. I was so happy. I couldn't wait to tell the guys on the team, but my bubble was burst when I got back to the hospital that evening. She was furious with me. I couldn't believe what she was saying. I thought she would be proud of me for telling the team. And when her mother died, she probably didn't tell you that I took off work a week before she died and spent the whole week at the hospital and at her mother's house doing repairs and helping out. After she died and the funeral was over, I felt I had done all I could do. I needed a breather. I liked to play softball, and I knew that would help me relax and relieve some of the stress I'd been under. I thought she would want me to take a break. I had done what I thought was important to her, but it wasn't enough. She had never let me forget those 2 days. She says that I love softball more than I love her. That's ridiculous. He was a sincere husband who failed to understand the tremendous power of presence. In his wife's mind, his being there for her when she needed him was more important than anything else. Physical presence in the time of crisis is the most powerful gift you can give if your spouse's primary love language is gift giving. Your body becomes the symbol of your love. Remove the symbol, and the sense of love evaporates. In counseling, Tony and Sonia worked through the hurts and misunderstandings of the past. Eventually, Sonia was able to forgive him, and Tony came to understand why his presence was so important to her. You can avoid such heartache and years of resentment simply by reading your wife's verbal and nonverbal clues. If your wife says to you, I really want you to be with me tonight/tomorrow/this afternoon, take her request seriously. From your perspective, the event may not seem important. Trust me, it is. And if you don't take it seriously, if you're less than responsive to her requests, you may send a message to your wife without realizing it. A message you may regret for a long, long time. Speak up. If your primary love language is gift giving and the physical presence of your wife is important to you, your first order of business is to verbalize your feelings. Don't make her guess what's important to you. Spell it out. Give her a chance to speak your love language fluently. The spirit of giving lies at the heart of love. All 5 love languages challenge us to give to our wives. However, for some people, gift giving, visual symbols of love, speaks the loudest. It's a start. Let's say a guy recognizes the needs of gifts in his relationship, but has little or no experience as a gift giver. Perhaps he grew up in a low-income family where presents were rarely handed out. Perhaps he's never been much of a shopper for himself or someone else. Perhaps his own love language lies approximately 180 degrees from gift giving. How might such a guy become fluent in the love language so foreign to him? A good first step would be to make a list of all the gifts he can think of that got a big reaction from his wife. They may be presents he'd given her or presents given by other family members or friends. A list like that would give him an idea of the kind of gifts his wife would enjoy receiving. If he kept the list handy and added to it as often as possible, he could use it as a reference when it's time to shop. If he's seriously worried about his gift selecting prowess or lack thereof, he could recruit the help of family members who know his wife well. Gift giving phrase book. No one can be expected to master the love language of gift giving overnight. If you need a gift idea and need it fast, try one of the following tried and true suggestions. The 12 days of Christmas are already established, but how about 12 days of gifts for your wedding anniversary, or your wife's birthday, Mother's Day, or some other special occasion? Photos are inexpensive gifts that become more cherished as time passes. They can be even more special if you collect them for a while and then present your wife with photo records of the growth of your child, the life of a pet, the seasons of her flower garden, and more. Consider some good now and later gifts. For example, a bird feeder, a needlepoint kit, or seeds for a vegetable garden will yield rewards for a long time to come. Give your wife the gift of the day. Sometime when you know she's free, take a day off and let her call all the shots for what she wants to do. Or give her the entire day to herself. Keep an eye open for spontaneous, unexpected gifts from street flower vendors, roadside fruit or craft dealers, or a favorite ice cream shop on a hot day. Make sure they're all things she would appreciate. If she loves gift shops or houseware stores, let her browse without your grousing or getting restless. If she has a favorite game show or reality program, think of ways you might provide a personalized version just for her. If she loves home design shows, for example, give her a budget and help from a friend and let her redesign one of the rooms in your house. If you have an artistic bend, create a rendering of her in charcoal, watercolors, oils, clay, or some other medium. When she's approaching a milestone event, special birthday, anniversary, notify old friends of hers whom she hasn't heard from in a while. Request simple, heartfelt gifts, poems, bookmarks, prayers for that special day. Keep them a secret until you present them to her at her big birthday bash. Have a star registered in your wife's name. Buy stock in a company your wife supports and let her follow the financial ups and downs over a period of time. Give handmade coupons for services your wife regularly requests, such as car washes, specific errands, and back rubs. Make sure you honor all coupons in a timely and cheerful manner. When money is tight, think of appropriate symbolic gifts. For example, instead of plane tickets, you might take your wife on a flight of fancy to daydream about what you would be doing together if money were no object. Or dig out videos of past vacations and relive special moments without leaving the comfort of your home. Offer your gift of presents during an especially hard time in her life. Perhaps when she's visiting a very sick friend, caring for an elderly parent, or dealing with a job crisis. When your wife is away on a business trip, church retreat, or weekend getaway with her best friend, hide a gift in her luggage or arrange to have something delivered to her hotel room. Add to the anticipation of a big gift by offering vague clues as to what it is, perhaps in the form of a jigsaw puzzle that eventually creates a picture of the gift.